Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today I'm doing the stay-at-home book tag. So this one is all about staying at home because a lot of us are self-isolating and staying at home right now. So I will link the original video down below, but let's get started. So the first question is, laying in bed, a book that you could or have read in a day. A book that I did recently read in one day was Mem by Bethany C. Morrow. This is a speculative fiction book that is set in kind of an alternate history 1920s Montreal, where they've created a technology where they can remove memories from people's minds, but those memories create kind of a duplicate of the person who is having that memory removed, and that duplicate of the person that they call a mem just sort of lives that memory on loop over and over again. And the character that we are following is a mem, but is the only mem that they know of who is able to create her own memories and is able to have consciousness outside of this one memory that she's living on loop. So it's a book that is about memories and about how memories form us and shape us and how they're a part of who we are and how we learn to be ourselves. And it's also about our main character in this kind of grappling with her own identity and her own existence, because she doesn't really understand what she is or how she exists, because she is the only mem like her in existence. And I absolutely loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. I have a full review for this that I'll link below, and I thought this book was really excellent. It's very short. It's under 200 pages, so it's one that's really easy to read all in one day or even all in one sitting. And it's one that is really short, but it packs a punch, and I think it just does a really excellent job of, like, it's trying to like do something and it just does it very concisely and very well. So I loved this one, and I did read this in one day. Question 2 is snacking, a guilty pleasure book. And I had a really hard time figuring out what would be like a guilty pleasure book for me, because I don't feel like I have a lot of them. But a book that is kind of an older one for me that was a guilty pleasure was The Charmed Sphere by Catherine Azzaro. This is the first book in some, I don't remember what the series is called. It's kind of like an adult fantasy romance series. It's been a very long time since I've read this. I think I read it in high school, so I don't remember it that well, but I think that this is probably the closest thing that I have to a guilty pleasure. Question 2 is Netflix, a series you want to start. So a series that I really want to start is The United States of Asgard by Tessa Gratton. This is a YA contemporary fantasy that is inspired by Norse mythology, and it's following these characters who I think have like special powers, and they encounter characters from Norse mythology. And it sounds kind of similar to like a Rick Riordan series, but it's YA, not middle grade, and I'm assuming it's going to be darker because Tessa Gratton's books tend to be a little bit darker. But I really want to try this. The first book is called The Lost Son, I believe. And yeah, I have really been loving Tessa Gratton's books recently, and I really want to read more of them, and that is the next one on my like list of Tessa Gratton books to try. Question 4 is Deep Clean, a book that has been on your TBR for ages. 2 books that have been on my TBR for a while and I'm hoping to get to soon are The Enchanted Hunters, The Power of Stories in Childhood by Maria Tatar. This is nonfiction, and I actually just started it, but I've only read like the introduction so far. So I really want to get to this one soon. And then another one that's a fiction book is The Thief by Megan Wallen Turner. I've heard really good things about this, and it's a very short book, so I don't know why I haven't read it yet, but it's been sitting on my shelf for a long time, so I want to try getting to this one also soon, because I really want to, I don't want to have books just like languish on my shelf for ages. Question 5 is Animal Crossing, a book that you recently bought because of the hype. And for this, I have The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. So this is a new release that just came out in, was it March or in February or something? It's a pretty recent release, and I've heard a few people being really excited about this one, and so I picked it up. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to like it at this point. I have started it. I've only read the first 60 pages or so, and it's not really grabbing me yet. But I do believe that it could get better, but I think I have to just like stick with it. So I'm not going to like really put it down just yet. I want to give it at least to like 100 to 150 pages before I make a real decision about how I feel about this. But this is the beginning of a new adult high fantasy series about an orc priestess who was meant to be a sacrifice to their god, and she decides to abandon that destiny and run off to become an assassin. Question 6 is productivity, a book that you learned from or a book that had an impact on you. So I feel like for questions like this, my go-to answer is usually a Brené Brown book. So this is a nonfiction book. Brené Brown is a researcher who does a lot of research around shame and vulnerability and like how it affects people's lives and relationships, and it's just really fascinating. I love her books, and this is my favorite one. This one is actually specifically about applying what she has learned through her research to like leadership scenarios, but I actually feel like this is the one that I found most applicable just like to life. I love all of Brené Brown's books, at least of the ones that I have read, and her books are always just really fascinating, and I think are ones that can really make you think about like yourself and your own relationships and the way that you handle different situations. And I just feel like it can really get you thinking and get you to learn a lot about yourself. Question 7 is FaceTime, a book you were gifted. So for this, I have This Day, Sabbath Poems Collected and New, 1979 to 2013 by Wendell Berry. So this is a collection of poetry, and I believe that the author would take a walk like in the woods every day, and then at the end of the week he would write a poem kind of about what he had been thinking about or learning from his walks. And I haven't read this one yet, but my mom gave this to me for, I think it was for my birthday last year. Yeah, so I'm interested to see like what this poetry is like, especially if it is inspired by walks in the woods. Question 8 is self-care. What is one thing you have done recently to look after yourself? And I'm a person who loves self-care. I am all about self-care in its various forms. So I have a lot of things that I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of the like stereotypical self-care things, you know, like skincare and face masks, and I like doing my makeup every day or almost every day, just because it's a ritual that I really enjoy, and because my life is less structured right now, having those little daily rituals has been just really nice and really helpful to feel like the time isn't completely all running together, because right now it kind of feels like time is meaningless. But each day is different, and I like having those rituals to remind myself of like the beginning of the day and the end of the day. But something else kind of related to like skincare and makeup and everything that I have been doing to just entertain myself and kind of take care of myself like mentally in a way, is I have a lot of experiments that I have going on. I love having like experiments running in my life at all times in various aspects of my life. And recently some of the experiments that I have been doing have especially been around like skincare, testing out different products, and since I have more time at home, I'm really able to like monitor very closely like which products are doing what and how things are affecting my skin. I've been getting really into cream blushes recently, and I recently just ordered a whole bunch of cream blushes because I want to like experiment with a lot of different formulas and colors to see what's going to work best for me. Having experiments, no matter what kind of experiment they are, is just something that I not only find extremely entertaining, but it just is another thing that kind of adds structure to my life and adds just this element of like excitement and intrigue to how I approach my days, that I think really mentally keeps me excited and happy during this time. So that's something that I've been doing to really like support myself. And the final question is name a book coming out soon And so a book that I'm really excited about that's going to be coming out soon, that actually will probably be out by the time this video goes out, is Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett. It's the second book to Foundryside, and I'm so excited for it. I loved Foundryside last year, and I'm really looking forward to Shorefall. I'm probably going to be listening to it as an audiobook because I listened to Foundryside as an audiobook and really liked it. But it's an adult high fantasy that is hard to explain exactly what it's about, but the first book was a heist. It has this really interesting magic system, but I will link below my review for Foundryside, and I'm really excited for the second book, Shorefall, which is coming out, I think, April 21st. So yeah, by the time this video goes up, that book will probably already be out. So that is all for the stay-at-home book tag. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye!